All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be here tonight. I welcome everyone that's here and watching, and I understand there are maybe some other important events going on this evening, so we appreciate you making the sacrifice to be here. We all believe in the local government's very impactful in your lives, and so I'm honored to be here with our other elected officials for the sixth annual Washington County State of the County addresses. And so, with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Assessor Russell Hill, would you do us the pleasure?
I'm going to kick things off tonight. So I've got quite a bit to share, so I'm going to try and run through it very fast for the sake of time. But just a glance at Washington County, we are the fourth largest area in the state, fourth largest county in the state, landmass-wise, third largest when it comes to parcel count, and third largest in population. If we look at the next slide, personal property. Personal properties, cars, boats, trailers, farm equipment, anything like that. Over the last 5 years, we've seen a 6.3% increase. So we're averaging about 1.2% increase per year. And if you notice there, the first set of bars is online assessments, and the yellow-orange bar is 2020. So when COVID hit, we saw a massive increase in online assessments, and it really seems to be staying that way because we're not seeing a real drop in online assessments, and which is really good. It allows people to assess their vehicles and stuff at home at the ease of that. So on to the next slide, taking a look at real estate. We have 249 work days per the year. And we average this year, in 2022, we averaged 97 deeds per day. If you go back to just the year prior to that, 21, we were averaging 86, and in 2020, 76. So we're seeing a lot of transactions taking place across Washington County when it comes to parcel transfers. On to new construction. In the last 5 years, Washington County, we've seen $3.65 billion in new construction over the past 5 years. Set a record last year with just under $1 billion in new construction taking place. You could think some of that's due to high inflation, but the next slide illustrates that it's not just high inflation, but we're seeing a lot of new things built and a lot of new projects going up. So this is a little chart with our parcel count. And we've been averaging about 1,500 new parcels each year. But if you look at 2022, we doubled that in 2022 with 3,100. So there's a lot of action going on there, a lot of building going on in Washington County. As we look at this next slide, real estate taxable value. There are three values that we look at in the assessor's office. The actual market value is what it would sell on the open market. That's over to the left. The assessed value is always 20% of the market. And then taxable value is what you're actually paying taxes on, and that's the line graph over there. You're seeing that go up each year. If you look at the market value to the left of the chart, notice in 2019, the market value of Washington County was about $15.8 billion, and then it jumps up almost $5 billion in 1 year. That's due to the countywide reappraisal, where we adjusted the values from 2015, where they had been locked in previously, and then we readjusted them in 2020. That's the cause of the big jump. Now, that adjustment doesn't happen all at one time. It happens gradually over time. For your homestead property, it goes up 5% a year. For all other property, it goes up 10% a year. So I did the math on that, and from our last reappraisal in 2020, we still have $356 million that haven't even hit the tax books yet, that we haven't collected yet, because it's still going up incrementally in a 5% or 10% procedure. So you take that, add that to the new record construction that we have going on, and that makes our treasurer, Hill, very happy because he knows we're going to continue to grow with the income coming into the county to cover these bills that we have going out. This next slide is my favorite. It really illustrates the growth of Washington County. If you look, starting there, that's 1974. We were just over $1 billion, and it took us to 1996, 22 years of growth before we got $5 billion worth of growth in Washington County. Now, if you look at 2019 to 2020, that real big jump, that's our countywide reappraisal where we jumped $5 billion in 1 year. So go back from 74 to 96, it took us 22 years to grow $5 billion in value. We did that over one reappraisal cycle there. So now we're going to transition from numbers into the assessor's office to see what we're doing to stay on top of all this growth that's happening countywide. Online assessing. We made some major modifications to our online assessing, making it easier for the user, but the big changes we made were automation into our side of things, creating 75% efficiency in our online assessments. We launched this January 1st of 2023. This was a game changer in our office. Normally, the first 2 weeks of January, our hair is caught on fire. We can't keep up. We are just inundated with the amount of assessments that are pouring in. 3,500 online assessments in the first 5 days alone, just on online assessments. So with this new adjustment, we noticed this year we weren't doing that. We didn't have that, or we were doing that volume, actually increased volume, but we were keeping up with the assessments, and it was very manageable because of the advances we made in our online assessing. Earlier slide, you saw where our parcel transfers had gone from averaging 76 per day to 97 in just a 2-year span. This year, we added just appraised software. Using artificial intelligence, it matches parcel transfers for us automatically. So whenever there's a transition that takes place, it matches it, it transfers the old owner to the new owner, and then all we have to do is manage it and make sure it's taking place. It's allowed us to manage this growth without having to add additional staff. On to our homestead credit forms. We added this to this launches this week. When you go onto the property search site and you look at your online property search card, there's a form tab on there. You can now apply for your homestead credit online. I see realtors and title companies utilizing this to make sure their clients claim their homestead credit and it's not accidentally thrown away in the mail, because we do mail those out to folks. A lot of people don't know what it is. They throw it in the trash. This will be a great tool for them to be able to claim that credit a lot easier. Business assessment and discovery. I want to introduce Jacob McDaniel. He is my GIS manager. He's over there to my left, and he's the one running the PowerPoint for me. So we hired Jacob past August, and he's hit the ground running. And this little project is Jacob's baby, and he deserves all the credit for it. What you're looking at on the map is the city of Fayetteville. Each dot is a new business or a previous business we had missed and hadn't discovered. Over 2,000 dots are on there. Each one averages about a $1,000 tax bill. Jacob discovered over $2 million worth of business personal property taxes that we haven't put on the tax books yet. And utilizing this navigation software, our assessors can now go out very efficiently and go up and find out these businesses and make sure they're turning in their renditions. So with that alone, he's brought in $2 million worth. In the business world, we'd say that Jacob is more than paying for himself with this discovery. Looking into 2024 homestead credit, this was actually a personal project of mine. With help from our assessors across the state and the Arkansas Association of Counties, we were able to get the Arkansas legislature to run and pass House Bill 1032, increasing the homestead credit from $375 to $425. That will take place in 2014. That happens automatically, so if you're already claiming the credit in 2024, we will adjust that up and you will get a discount on your property taxes. In closing, it's been a pleasure serving as your Washington County Assessor over the last 8 years. It's an honor to be able to serve the county that I was born and raised in, and I always take great pride in being able to give money back to the county. In that 8-year period, we've been able to give back just over $570,000 in unused budget funds, keeping Washington County on track and under budget. But I'm sure I went over my time tonight, so that concludes me. Go Hogs.
Thank you, Assessor Hill. Circuit Clerk Sylvester?
Well, good evening, everybody. I don't have a PowerPoint, and I don't have as much information as the assessor. My office is pretty much for, you know, the court side of Washington County, the circuit court side and all, but we also house all the land records for Washington County. And kind of alluding back to what Assessor Hill was talking about, you know, over the last year has been very busy in our office, a very heavy real estate volume with the recording of deeds, plat surveys, all the new growth in Washington County is coming through our office and then goes down to the assessor's office, and we keep track of those things. The court side as well, and I'm sure that Prosecutor Matt Durrett will be able to chime in with some numbers and volume later. But we're seeing a steady increase in our court volume each and every year. And so this last year has been very busy for us. This past year up until 2023, we've been down 3 staff members. Unfortunately, we lost one of our longtime staff members to a battle with cancer last year, and we definitely miss Charlene a lot. But having said that, our staff is currently back to full staff -1 at this point, and we're doing a lot of training, a lot of new faces in the office, and we've got just an outstanding team in the circuit clerk's office. Last year we started phase 2 of a renovation in the office to change up some of the logistics, to cause a better workflow, a little more customer friendly, to kind of section off different parts of the office, to be able to have some more security for the staff. But also, once we get the back part opened up, which should be in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to have a front desk area to where we can direct citizens that come in to utilize our services. If they need copies of certain things, they'll be able to take care of that right at the front counter and not have to go back into the bowels of the office. We'll be able to take care of them right up front. If they need to file court cases or real estate documents, we'll be able to direct them to the proper location there. This year's been really busy as far as the legislative session down in Little Rock. I think I've spent more time in Little Rock than I have at home with my wife and kids, which is sad, but it's necessary. Myself, with also the staff from the Association of Arkansas Counties and other circuit clerks from around the state, especially up here in Washington County, Brenda Shields from Benton County, and also down in Saline County near Little Rock. We've had great participation from our Arkansas Circuit Clerks Association, getting some bills passed and some legislation taken care of that will kind of clear up a lot of archaic practices that we've had that are still on the books. With technology, those things change, so we can clear up several things. Also, looking at some of the bills that some of the legislators are running, we're allowed to be able to chime in and either support or, you know, have a position against some of these bills that would negatively affect not only our office but several offices around the county and in the cities as well. Currently, like I said earlier, we're back to just -1 from being at full staff. A lot of training going on and doing things that will better our customer service in the circuit clerk's office, you know, providing the best service that we can and efficient as possible. And And that's really all I have.
Thank you, Circuit Clerk. Treasurer Hill?
Thank you, Judge. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. Financially speaking, Washington County had a very good year in 2022. We began 2022 with $88 million in the bank, ended with $99 million of the bank, but also 25% of that is remaining federal funds received during the pandemic. Speaking of the federal money, in rental assistance, Washington County paid out about $6.3 million in 2022. In total, we've paid out about $14.2 million. In rescue plan funds, we've paid out about $15.5 million in 2022. In total, we've paid out about $21 million. Some of the things that we funded was premium pay for employees, breathing apparatuses for rural fire departments, upgrades in equipment for central EMS and the 911 department. I think at the last meeting we had, I said we had about $6 million remaining in unobligated funds. That's closer would be about $5.8 million. Our property tax distributions increased about 7.2%, and we distributed about $250 million to the county, cities, libraries, rural fire, and school districts. Sales tax also continued its growth. Our countywide 1 cent tax brought in about $10 million. The quarter-cent jail tax brought in about $15 million. Interest rates returns, as everybody knows, were terrible for much of last year, but have really improved as of late. In fact, for the first 3 months of this year, we've already equaled the total distributions of the entire 2022. Also, I choose to use banks that have a local presence here in Washington County. I believe that's a better option to invest locally whenever you have the opportunity. I know bank failures have been in the news a lot the last week or two, but I want everyone to know that all the money that goes through my office is 100% secured according to state law. For 2023, expenses will be up. There's no way around that. We gave our all employees received a very nice and much deserved raise for this year. Now, of course, that's going to raise payroll costs. Also, the cost of doing business anywhere and everywhere has gone up. We all know that. However, revenue is strong, and hope it continues throughout this year and the next several years, hopefully. If we ever do run into a bind, Quorum Court has worked hard the last several years to get the General Reserve Fund up to $14 million. In the Treasurer's Office, our greatest responsibilities are securing your money, balancing your money, and growing your money. I'd like to thank my great staff for making this happen year in and year out. They do a great job for me and for Washington County. Again, thanks for being here, and don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Hill. Prosecutor Durrett?
Thank you, Judge. Good evening, everybody. The criminal justice system with the prosecutor's office is busy as always. Last year, we filed 2,965 new cases. We disposed of about 2,700, which isn't where we want to be, but it is much better than it was this time last year, and even more so than 2 years ago. It's still dealing with some of the backlog from the pandemic, but we've been working through that. We've been having more jury trials. We've been able to process more cases, so we're gradually catching up. And I really have to applaud my staff and the public defender's office, who we work with on most of our cases. We've had a really good collaborative effort between both the offices trying to get cases resolved. So a lot of the credit goes to them too. We've been working through some, coming up with new ideas as part of the recommendations from the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee. We have a diversionary case manager, Drew Smith, who works in the, she goes down to the jail and tries to pinpoint individuals who can be released either on monitor or on a lower bond. And she identifies those people, contacts us in the public defender's office, and we work to see if those people would be eligible for either an ankle monitor or early disposition of the case, early entry into returning home or into drug court. So that's just getting started, but it's showing a little bit of progress. And so that's another issue or another situation in which the Public Defender's Office deserves a lot of credit, especially Blake Chancellor, who has been spearheading that on their end. So we're working together. Our two offices are working together with the Sheriff's Office and with the judges on trying to ease some of the overcrowding at the jail, doing our best to identify those folks that don't pose a danger and can safely be released, or those individuals whose cases can be expedited. As Circuit Clerk Sylvester said, the legislative session is in full swing. I've been down there doing my part, but it looks like business is about to pick up. They're taking next week off for spring break, but they're coming back to the next issue they're going to tackle is a criminal justice bill, which may make things busier for us. I don't know, but we've got very dedicated staff. I've got a bunch of hardworking deputy prosecutors, and the remainder of my office are regular staff who we couldn't do what we do without them. So we have a dedicated group of employees who are working hard to get move our cases along and get our cases resolved. And so we're working hard, doing everything that we can to try to identify those individuals who, trying to pinpoint cases in which, as I talked about earlier with drug court, those individuals that we need to focus on, and other areas we need to focus on, such as mental health court. That's another part of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee that our office is working with to try to get up and running. So hopefully we'll have another diversionary program to help a different set of individuals who are going through the criminal justice system. So we're going to continue to work hard and do everything we can to keep things going as quickly as possible. So I appreciate it, Judge.
Thank you, Prosecutor Durrett. Sheriff Cantrell?
Thank you, Judge. I believe Matt Durrett has copied some of my notes. We may repeat some of the same information. And I promise I'm going to probably read most of mine because I don't want to get off track and I don't want to ramble. Matt knows Mike Rainwater. Some of y'all may know him. He used to say, if you can't say what you need to say in a page, you probably don't know what you're talking about. I promise, before I made this 20 font, it was a page. So, good evening. My name is Jay Cantrell, and I'm your Washington County Sheriff. I'm grateful to be here this evening to update you on the state of the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office is divided into two distinct divisions. We have an enforcement division and a detention division. The enforcement division has countywide jurisdiction, but primarily we provide law enforcement services to the unincorporated areas of Washington County. Some of our enforcement duties include patrol, criminal investigations, participation in multiple interagency task forces, civil process, animal control, and communications. In 2021, the state mandated that the PSAPs in the state consolidate. Washington County was granted 3 public safety answering points. So Washington County is going to combine with Central EMS to have 1 public safety answering point. There'll be Fayetteville PD and Springdale PD for the other 2. So we are deep into that process of consolidation, and we hope to have our dispatch centers merged and working out of the same room down at the Sheriff's Office by summer of 2023. This consolidation will benefit the citizens of Washington County by reducing 911 transfers between EMS and the Sheriff's Office, and increase the efficiencies between the 2 agencies. So we're happy that that's going forward. The Washington County Jail continues to operate above maximum capacity. Several factors contribute to the jail overcrowding issue, some of which are outside the sheriff's and the county's control. The population in our region continues to grow at a record pace. The prison system does not have enough capacity to house the convicted and sentenced inmates, and the state parole and probation do not have enough staff to effectively supervise the inmates that are released on parole. However, the county is working on areas that are within our control. For example, we have established the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee that Matt mentioned. This committee is exploring multiple ideas to reduce our jail population and increase our efficiencies. Plans for a mental health court similar to drug court is in the works. We have an operational crisis stabilization unit in the county. We have diversionary programs that are being considered. We're working on ways to make some of those programs available to our in-custody detainee population. There are no easy answers, but Washington County criminal justice partners are committed and have committed to work together to find solutions. Though the pandemic is officially over, COVID is still a serious concern in the congregate setting of the jail. We have a constitutional mandate to protect those in our custody, and the courts have said many times that jails cannot be deliberately indifferent to known serious medical needs. We quickly realized shortly after the pandemic began in 2020 that we were not able to adequately separate and isolate positive and exposed detainees from the general population. In 2021, the Quorum Court authorized the sheriff to hire a firm to design and develop a COVID mitigation plan. In 2022, the court approved the plan and authorized funding to begin construction. Bids have been received, and we hope to break ground on the project very soon. Recruiting and retention is still a challenge post-pandemic. We are continually looking for new and innovative ways to attract and retain quality employees. Unfortunately, we're competing with other law enforcement agencies for the limited pool of people who desire to take law enforcement as their career path. It doesn't help our efforts when the local municipal police agencies significantly increased their starting pay, which is now approximately $20,000 more than the starting pay for our sheriff's office enforcement deputies. So we have an incredible group of men and women who make up your Washington County Sheriff's Office. We will work hard to address these challenges and continue to deliver exceptional service to the citizens of Washington County. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Cantrell. I appreciate each of you giving your updates and being here this evening, and it's my pleasure to offer the state of the county from the county judge's office perspective. And you've heard a lot of it here tonight, but our county is constantly seeing change on so many levels. Our prosperity is a welcome reality, but it brings a whole host of issues and opportunities for us to address. I'm a firm believer that we must act proactively to harness and embed our values and vision into that change. If we act proactively and we stay engaged, we can ensure prosperity for generations to come. We are a blessed region with immense resources, but we must commit to working together and collaborating to get great things done. Our only limitations to success will be the ones that we impose on ourselves. I see several challenges on the horizon, but I hope each of you join me with the insight that with every challenge, there's a great opportunity for success there. As mentioned tonight, jail overcrowding continues to be the most critical issue we face as a county, and I want to say a sincere thank you to all the stakeholders that are involved in this system for working so hard to mitigate this crisis. Your efforts are noticed, and I can't begin to imagine the state we would be in as a county without your dedication of you and your staffs working so hard on this. Finding solutions to this problem will require an open and honest assessment of all of our criminal justice systems and dedication to collaboration, both here at home and then also at all levels of our government. I want to say I invite conversations on reasonable and realistic improvements to our system. However, I always want us to keep in mind, too, that we have certain obligations as a county, and then I also want us to remember that for every crime, there's a victim. There are some involved in this process that are selfishly destroying environments where good conversations can be had to be constructive about this problem. I invite everyone to self-reflect and work towards collective goals. Tonight, I want to highlight some of the solutions that are underway here at the county. First, as Sheriff Cantrell mentioned, we continue to pursue and see progress in the COVID mitigation modifications at the jail. This would be a very welcome improvement from a security standpoint, security and safety. Second, my office is working hard to assist in the implementation of Washington County's first mental health court. That includes securing funding through grants and helping develop the metrics by which we will gauge the success of that new system. Finally, with the assistance of the Public Defender's Office in Little Rock, we will see a full-time public defender housed at the jail who will help to assist in bail hearings and to expedite plea agreements. That's going to be very welcome news, I think. Of course, with increases in our population, local governments are going to see major challenges in keeping pace with infrastructure. None of that infrastructure is more important for my office than our county roads and bridges. I, along with Chief of Staff Lance Johnson, are working very hard to establish a culture in our road department focused on our basic obligations and doing those extremely well. And this includes a renewed focus on maintenance. The compensation package update passed by the Quorum Court last year has done a lot to ensure that we have the talented men and women needed to tackle our projects. Our greatest mission is to ensure that all the citizens of our county can move about in a safe and an efficient manner. We dedicate ourselves to continuous improvement on our roads and bridges, and I can assure you that no one is more self-critical than ourselves here at the county and the job that we're doing, and so we continue to always want to strive to do better. One of the areas I know that we can do better as a county is in our planning and zoning process. Our continued economic growth is crucial to this region, and it's crucial to helping us meet our challenges. Our county's approach to planning and zoning is out of date and out of touch with the realities that we're seeing on a daily basis here in our county. My administration is here to set a goal to update our planning processes by the end of this year. And in doing so, we will better serve both the applicants and the neighbors of this county. Above all, I want our county to have its own identity when potential investment comes knocking. And specifically, I want business owners and developers to hear that our county is open for business. As previously shared publicly, my administration is fully dedicating ourselves to the capital project of building an emergency operations center to permanently house our Department of Emergency Management. Emergency response is a duty that we have to the citizens of our county, and that obligation is uniquely housed at the county level. I want all of our first responders to have the facilities and tools they need to keep us safe. This is a capital project explicitly listed in the guidelines of the American Rescue Plan. I cannot think of a better use of those funds than to ensure that we can effectively respond to emergencies well into the future. And I look forward to having the cooperation of our Quorum Court members to get this project done as quickly as possible. In closing, I promise to Washington County citizens that we will work hard every day in an effort to advance our collective interests. I am honored to have the opportunity to serve and help advance our county into the future. I am humbled to serve with such an excellent group of fellow elected officials, but most importantly, I consider it a blessing to serve alongside our dedicated county employees. Service to the county is more than a job, it's more than a career, it's a calling, and all of our county employees do an outstanding job. As I reflect on my short term in office, it can seem as though the challenges and needs are endless and the days are long. But I want to also say that there is no place I'd rather be doing any of this than Washington County, Arkansas. So with that, I would say the state of our county is strong. And in closing, God bless each and every one of our citizens, and God bless Washington County, Arkansas. Thank you for being here.